We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you is Friday, August 22nd here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Im Sang-hyuk.
Thanks God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. And also Kang Moon-ju is with us.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's finally Friday, and to close out the work week, we're going to talk about something a little lighter, but still quite thought-provoking: how much emphasis people place on appearance when it comes to dating. From social media trends to the rise of parties and events centered around looks, there's a growing debate about whether younger generations, especially millennials and Gen Zs, are putting too much importance on physical attraction. So let's start simple. So it's Friday, and it's the perfect time to go on a date. So when you're looking for a partner, do you find yourself focusing on appearance, or do you prioritize other qualities first, Sang-hyuk?
I do prioritize appearance.
Okay, thank you for your honesty.
Yes, I think appearance is an important factor when choosing a partner. And of course, excessive lookism should be avoided in the society. But humans tend to be attracted to the first thing they see from a person, which is likely to be a physical characteristics. And don't get me wrong, I don't only prioritize appearance, of course, but I can't deny that looks are important. If my girlfriend is pretty, then yeah, I would be happy even when we are fighting just by looking at her face.
That's a very honest take on this.
Okay.
So since you look at appearance, and everyone's style is a bit different, which I guess physical attribute do you look at the most?
Well, I tend to look at the balance of the person, and also I prefer taller girl over shorter ones.
I mean, you're tall too, so that's fair.
Yeah, so I'm almost 6 feet. So yeah, I don't really have a strict standard about height, but for me, if the girl is taller, then that would be better.
So you appreciate taller women?
Right.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Moon-ju?
For me, appearance is not a deciding factor. Of course, I know each person sees this differently, and I think that's perfectly natural. But after all, our looks are mostly something we're born with. It does not reflect our choices or our character. And it is true that how neatly a person maintains themselves can reflect the effort they put into their self-development. But I think the emphasis should end right there. I'm more drawn to someone who understands and embraces the differences, because a relationship is about two people from different worlds finding a way to walk side by side. So in my case, I think characteristics are more important than the appearance of my partner.
I like what you say about finding someone to walk side by side. It's very sweet, Moon-ju.
Thank you.
But of course, just like we saw with just the two of you guys here, it depends on the person. But probably there's a large number of the younger generation nowadays that's placing a greater emphasis on looks when choosing who to date. And there are now even parties that seem to reflect this growing focus on physical appearance. So, Sang-hyuk, have you heard of these kinds of events?
Yeah, I did hear that there are those kind of fun events going on. Yeah, without even me knowing about them. And I think such group matchmaking events have been popular for a long time, and there are also many of them these days, and some of the themes go beyond appearance. It could be based on personal salary, family background, or within the same religion or region. And recently, among the MZ generation, there has been a growing tendency to prioritize appearance when looking for dating partners like me. And this could lead to the rise of so-called appearance approval parties, and at these events, men and women in their 20s and 30s submit photos and body information to the organizers, who then review the applications based on attractiveness, height, and overall impressions, selecting participants purely based on appearance. So the participation fee is about 50,000 Korean won, that is around $35 per session, but popular parties are fully booked for the entire months.
I feel like this is the party just for you, since you do
Right.
look at appearance.
Right.
But I'm surprised that it's actually quite popular. I read an article about how in the Dongjaku district here in Korea, here in Seoul, more like 3,000 people apply every month, which is a crazy number.
Yeah, I also heard that there is a special, these kind of parties in a certain apartment complex where the young men and women gather around together within the same apartment complex.
Wow,
Yeah.
so these are actually becoming really popular. So, Moon-ju, have you also heard of these parties and events like this? What do you know about them?
Yeah, I've also heard about this appearance approval parties, which I highly doubt if I'm qualified for it. But anyways, given how important looks can be in these settings, there are also parties where names, ages, and occupations remain completely undisclosed. So according to those who have attended these kind of parties, such events offer a higher chance of meeting someone you find very attractive while also being safer compared to blind date or nightlife venues such as hunting pocha in Korea. So on a blind date, it can be hard to meet someone that is truly one of your ideal type and whose appearance truly appeals to you. Whereas if these kind of parties, people with verified looks are only invited. So I think participants tend to trust this kind of parties better than blind dates.
What I thought was kind of funny was that you mentioned how like names, ages aren't revealed, but then
Yeah.
so then they have these nicknames
Yeah.
after celebrities, right? Like
Yeah.
Joan or Jenny.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So appearance is typically considered surface level, which is why it's deemed less important than other traits such as personality, especially when it comes to choosing a life partner. So it's interesting to see how millennials and Gen Zs are increasingly seeking out partners they find physically attractive. And to get a broader understanding on this, we asked our viewers on the Arirang News YouTube channel a more simple question. Do you think it's natural to be attracted to someone's looks? And here's what the results showed. So a majority, 92% of respondents agreed that it is indeed normal to be attracted to how someone looks, while 8% said not necessarily. So while looks might not be the top priority for everyone, it seems that many still agree it's natural and understandable to appreciate someone's appearance. So let's delve deeper into why younger people are placing a greater emphasis on looks when choosing a partner. So Sang-Young, what would you say is driving this shift?
Well, I think it was mostly driven by the changing social perceptions about marriage. Because nowadays, many youth are kind of viewing marriage as not a must. And this also has changed the standards by which people view their potential partners. In fact, the percentage of respondents who said that marriage is a necessity has dropped by about 15% compared to a decade ago. Whereas in the past, factors such as occupation, access, and family background, those conditions that were tied to marriage were emphasized. And today, the value placed on physical appearance, which satisfies this instinctive attraction, has grown significantly. And at the same time, I think the increase of more women maintaining their economic activity also contributed to this shift. Because in the past, it was a social norm for men to prioritize a woman's appearance, while women consider a man's occupation and economic strength when choosing a partner. But with many women still holding on to their jobs even after marriage and giving birth, women can now maintain their economic status within their family. And as a result, it became quite meaningless for women to only prioritize a man's salary and his ability as a breadwinner. Instead, both men and women are now putting more weight on their partner's physical attractiveness.
That's really interesting. Moonji, do you know anything else about this?
I think also with the rise of visually driven social media and the popularity of dating shows like Netflix's Singles Inferno, where the contestants' physical appearance is amplified. Some analysts argue that external beauty has become a new form of social class, even surpassing the wealth and the fame and the perceived value. The truth is, in today's world, having good looks indeed can open doors to opportunities in various aspects and various fields, something the growth of social media has strongly affected. This may be one reason why the importance placed on appearance continues to grow within the MZ generation. In fact, research has even found a proportional relationship between salary and physical attractiveness, strengthening the belief among many young people that appearance has become one of the key forms of competitiveness in these modern society.
Right, so I've also watched these dating shows, like you mentioned, like Singles Inferno. It's very obvious that everyone's so attractive on those shows, so I can see why looks are now become more glorified.
And they're becoming like the icon of the MZ generation as soon as they appear in the film. Yeah,
right, so you think like, oh, I guess looks are really important. That's like kind of like such a norm now.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about how this shift in dating culture is showing up in the rise of parties and events focused on looks and why this is happening here in Korea. But we wanted to get a broader global perspective on this topic. topic. So coming up, we'll be speaking with a young person from another country to hear their take on how appearances influences dating where they're from. And that conversation is happening right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Anna, a millennial who's from Germany, where usage of the dating app Tinder is apparently high. So hi, Anna. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hi, everybody.
So what is dating culture like in your country? For example, how do people usually meet? Is it through apps, parties, or other social events?
I think, especially because I know also how dating life in Korea is, I think it's much more casual than formal. So usually you can meet on events, on parties, or even on the street. I had a friend visiting Korea, and after 3 days, she said, "How do people meet partners in Korea? They don't even like look each other on the street." So in Germany, usually when you find somebody attractive, you would smile at the person or like show your interest. And in Korea, I realized that when somebody is like looking at you or staring, it people kind of feel a pressure and think, "Who is this? Why is that person like staring at me?" So I think this is really different in Germany. And also the whole dating procedure. I think Korea is much more formal compared to Germany, where usually everybody lives alone. So you can just have friends over. And because of that, you get a better connection right from the start. Maybe you see the person without makeup because you have a sleepover or stay over. And I think in Korea, because when you're dating, you always meet at a formal place. You have a date, so usually girls get ready. So I think after a time, the pressure on how to look is much bigger than compared to Germany.
Okay, then when choosing a partner, Anna, how much do people consider appearance compared to Korea in Germany? And what do you think the reason behind that is?
I think in Germany it's still, of course, important because you have to feel that attraction toward the other person. But I think it's less important. And in my opinion, the reason is the social pressure that is often on Korean society, not only on how the person looks, like your individual attraction, but also how the representation is to other people. So I feel that when my Korean friends tell me, "Oh, I have a boyfriend," or "I'm dating this person and he is from this school, he's doing this job, he's this tall," it's much more mentioned what the status of the person is, how they look like, compared to like other actors or anything. And in Germany, I think that is less important. More important is the life goals, common interests. So I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I see. So our last question for you today is, do you think young people in Germany today pay more attention to looks compared to previous generations? If so, what do you think has changed?
I do think so, that younger generations have a bigger pressure also to look perfect, mainly because of social media. I mean, even myself, I see myself starting like to compare myself to other people and see how perfect couples upload dating pictures, and you think, "Oh, that's also something I want to achieve." So I think people see that and have the pressure to look like that, to appear like that. And I very often heard of with dating apps, for example, people think, okay, everybody has to look like this. And then they were dating the person, and the person in real life looked really different. But I think it's something normal. So people already have that in mind when meeting a person, which is kind of sad because I think we should still feel comfortable in showing who we are. But yeah, I guess that's another generation where looks have more importance.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you.
So we just spoke with someone from Germany who shared her perspective on how appearance plays a role in dating culture in her country. It's interesting to see both the similarities and differences compared to what we observe here in Korea. And looking ahead, if this trend continues and the focus on looks becomes even stronger, do you think it could create problems in the way people form relationships? What kind of issues do you foresee arising from the shift, Sang-yeon?
So if this trend continues among MZ generation, it could definitely lead to a deepening of appearance-only trend in society and culture. Excessive emphasis on looks may cause people to become overly obsessed with outward appearances, ultimately leading to negative consequences for individual happiness and life. It can also have harmful effects on adolescents, such as fostering feelings of inferiority. And it will also create a social atmosphere where every other value is neglected except for appearance. And this will then pressure the youth, especially young children who are growing up, to pursue looks, ending up in materialistic society. In the end, the essence of true love, ingenuity, sincerity will all be lost. So even though I'm a person who prioritizes looks not only in dating but also in social networking, I strongly believe that other factors should also be measured when judging others. So your look is like a document screening. So if you're pretty, there is a greater chance that you might have more selections, and there's a greater chance that you might be chosen in the dating market, but it doesn't always guarantee finding the right best partner.
So what do you mean by you prioritize looks when it comes to like social networking?
Well, I'm not saying that someone should look handsome or pretty, but like taking care of yourself, managing your skins and hairs, yeah, those kind of things would actually give you an advantage when you're having like a job interview or when you're meeting someone for an important business meeting. Yeah, it could actually give you a plus factor.
I agree. It's important to look put together. It's always good. Moonji, so what are your thoughts on placing such a strong emphasis on looks when choosing a partner, which I know you don't do, but...
While attractive looks can strongly influence, the choice of partner, especially early on, like early in stage of the starting a relationship. But there is also a study suggesting that they're not a decisive factor in sustaining a long-term relationship. So focusing only on appearance may make it harder to find someone you can truly rely on, and share life with over time, because there are lots of things that should be come before in order to build a long-term relationship, and you might be missing those kind of deeper qualities.
So to close our discussion for today, Sang-yeon, when we look at this dating culture among millennials and Gen Zs, where emphasis is placed on looks, where do you think this is headed, and how do you think it can evolve in a more healthier direction?
Actually, I often hear this a lot from foreigners when they come to Korea. Many of them say they were surprised by how well dressed the people are here. So as more people value appearance, it is indeed giving a silent social pressure, which makes you feel that if you don't dress up and stay fit, you will be left behind the social majority. And again, excessive obsession toward appearance should be avoided. But like I've mentioned earlier, I think taking care of yourself could have a buff effect when you are socially networking with others. Polishing your nails, trimming your hair neat, wearing clean and fresh clothes are the efforts that we can make to give a good impression to others. And this is especially helpful when we are seeing someone after a long time or when you're having a job interview. Because at the end of the day, having a neat and tidy appearance won't hurt. It will only make yourself more appealing to others.
I agree. Moonji, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I do completely agree with Sang-yeok. Just giving it briefly. I think MZ generation should also keep in mind that like if you are too obsessed with the appearances, you might be losing the deeper qualities of your life or the self-development part, which I have mentioned earlier. And also, more importantly, beauty standards vary from person to person, and each form of beauty deserves to be respected. So I think it's very important to keep this in mind.
So while it's natural to be drawn to someone's appearance, it's clear that the emphasis on looks is becoming more pronounced among younger generations. So whether this trend will continue or shift toward a more balanced view of what matters in a partner is something we'll be watching closely as well. But even as attraction matters, it is important to remember the bigger picture. Qualities like we mentioned, like personality, values, and shared goals often play a far greater role in building lasting and meaningful relationships. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Sang-yeol.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Also, Moonju.
My pleasure.
And to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have the best weekend. We are News
Generation.